Okay, lovers. This is me doing a little webcam comparison for live streaming. So you see in the top left corner, we have the webcam. It's a generic one. I forget. I was like AIXPI webcam. I got that one off Amazon. The Sony Cx405. That's a camcorder, a 1080p camcorder. You can see me holding the webcam in there, and then I also have the M200 EOS webcam. Okay, so my review on three and like kind of what's all good. So obviously I think now the EOS, the M200, I'm running through the webcam EOS webcam utility. I usually run this as a HDMI out because it's the most reliable, but for some reason I'm not able to get both of the Sony Cx405 and the webcam both into OBS. I'm sure I could problem shoot that and maybe figure out how, or if you know how, get in the comment section if you've also had that problem where you're not able to get multiple HDMI inputs to read. So what's my review? So the webcam, obviously, if you're starting off, that's where I started off. It was a webcam, and it's good if you're just trying to get your voice out there, make some content, or you're doing stream calls, or you're on Zoom or something like that. And then it's interesting because the webcam, if I don't look at it, or if I look at it as a still image, the webcam seems to be a better one, the image. But with the Sony Cx4, I felt like once you started putting movement in and moving around, that the movement looked a lot better with this. It looked kind of more like real movement with the Sony Cx405. So it's like I felt like overall when you're going to the webcam, from the webcam you going to the camcorder is an upgrade, because also the camcorder does have manual settings in there, so you do have an opportunity to try to set something consistent and then just make the light in your room be the thing that is consistent, so your camera doesn't jump from different exposures and things like that. So the manual settings, you're going to get more configuration with the Sony. And then also it has a clean HDMI out. I didn't know that about this until I tried it. I saw some YouTube channels showing it. So yeah, the Sony Cx405 camcorder has a clean out. All you see is the image. It looks good. And then we have the daddy of them all, which is going to be like a interchangeable lens camera, the M200. So the beauty of the M200, I originally had an M50, but it didn't have a clean HDMI out, and I was using the EOS Web utility, which is it's not super reliable. When it works, it's great, but it can kick out at times. So the HDMI seems to be the most reliable in terms of it's just feeding what the camera is feeding into. It's not kind of using any sort of software to convert it or anything like that. It just seems like the HDMI is just straight taking the feed out of the phone, putting it into your computer. Seems like more mechanical than software based. So that seems to be the most reliable, is just the HDMI. Even with the Sony Cx405. The downside to the Sony is that there is a limited time on the record, because I'm using batteries, but I mean, it's still 3 hours. So, if you had a few hours and you're taking responsible breaks in between your streams, you should be taking, like, if you were streaming for like 4 or 5 hours, you should be taking like 15-minute breaks in between each hour, 10 to 15 minutes breaks in each hour. And you could easily change a battery in that time. So you could essentially stream all day with the Sony. But that being said, the Canon, I just have it plugged into continuous power. I have a dummy battery, and that's running into a power converter, which is just plugged into the wall. So I can literally keep that thing on all day if I wanted to. So the M200 is going to be the king of them all. But then you're looking at price, right? The M200 with the kit lens, it wasn't a bad price. Ended up coming to the door for $550. The Sony was about $250. And the webcam was about, $70. So when you look at those price comparisons, then you're really kind of getting an idea of what you're looking into and kind of why you would probably want to start with the webcam if you don't know anything, right? Because I had to learn about interchangeable lenses before I started going into. There's a lot to learn in interchangeable lenses cameras, because you don't always know what you need until you start using it. For example, I got the HDMI. I got the Canon M50 not knowing what about clean HDMI, not thinking about that, just thinking, oh, I use the EOS webcam utility. And the more research I learned, I was like, okay, the HDMI clean out is what you really want to have the best streaming quality possible, is a good interchangeable lens or a great camcorder with good live out with clean HDMI. And so it turns out that the M50 wasn't a viable option for that. The M200 was actually better for web streaming, but the M50 Mark II turns out that it does have clean HDMI out. So I have one of those also. So that's also a good camera. So if you can interchange the lenses, you can get really nice glass on. That's the difference. What I realize is being able to change and get like a really nice piece of Sigma glass, or this lens is a 22 millimeter f2.0, which might not mean anything to you until you start dorking out on the specs a little bit. But it just means I can get a crisper, clearer image in lower light. I don't need as much light. So you can get those lenses that even if the camera in itself with the kit lens isn't very good in low light, you can get really nice lenses that can help you work in lower light performance, so that when you're bumping up the ISO or whatever, it still has a good look to it. And so, yeah, just that's to keep in mind. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting on your next webcam.